As investigators continue to assemble communications activities and movements leading up to the event, the public observes with keen interest, evaluating evidence, expert analyses, and official statements in an effort to distinguish established fact from conjecture, motive from assumption, and the confirmed from the unresolved. As the investigative process advanced, attention extended beyond physical evidence to incorporate the testimonies of individuals who witnessed the situation directly. Multiple observers described specific moments that appeared to challenge the official narrative, moments that seemed to resist straightforward interpretation. Some noted unusual behavioral patterns among certain individuals within the crowd, gestures or physical postures that appeared deliberate, coordinated, or even rehearsed. These observations do not inherently indicate malfeasance, but they do underscore the inherent complexity of reconstructing an accurate and complete account of the actual events. Photographs and video footage released to the public depict the individual who was apprehended and taken into custody. However, some experts and independent observers have noted apparent discrepancies in physical appearance when compared to earlier images disseminated by authorities. Variations in posture, facial structure, and bodily proportions have prompted further inquiry. Was this indeed the same individual captured on initial surveillance recordings, or could additional elements remain undisclosed? Similarly, analytical scrutiny of body language and firearm handling techniques visible in certain video frames has been undertaken, as specific actions appear inconsistent with an individual managing a large, heavy while simultaneously navigating a rooftop structure and descending into a densely populated area. A further complicating factor within the narrative is the confounded presence of drone assets and panning surveillance cameras during the event. Unlike standard automated recording systems, some footage appears to have been manually operated, tracking the movements of specific individuals across the venue. Critical questions regarding the identity of these camera operators and the full extent of the footage they captured, which remains unreleased to the public, are subjects of ongoing investigative examination. These questions may hold significant importance for understanding the complete sequence of events. Witnesses have also expressed concerns regarding the trajectory and the specific physical characteristics of the exit wound. Forensic specialists stress that trajectory analysis is fundamentally critical, as minor angular deviations can provide crucial indications regarding the precise position, distance, and the type of weapon employed. Publicly accessible footage and photographic evidence leave certain evidential details unresolved, thereby contributing to a broader perception that not all investigative angles have been exhaustively addressed or disclosed. Finally, official statements from the FBI have indicated that the potential involvement of additional co-conspirators has not been conclusively eliminated. This official acknowledgement reinforces a central premise. Although a primary suspect remains in custody, the complete account of the event may involve other participants, specific circumstances, or elements of planning that continue to be under active investigation. Each identified anomaly, each unexplained observation, strengthens the imperative for a meticulous, exhaustive inquiry and underscores the necessity for procedural transparency, enabling the public to achieve an incremental and reliable understanding of what transpired that day. The ramifications of Charlie Kirk's passing extend significantly beyond his immediate circle of family and friends. This incident has generated profound effects within communities, influenced political discourse, and permeated the broader public consciousness, raising fundamental questions regarding safety, institutional trust, and the protective systems upon which society depends. Within a social landscape already characterized by ideological divisions and informational challenges, events of this nature intensify public uncertainty and necessitate deep reflection. Individuals are inquiring not only how such a serious incident could occur, but also why the disseminated narrative occasionally appears misaligned with their own observations, with credible testimonies, and with analyses provided by independent subject matter experts. The surrounding political and social context is an unavoidable component of this analysis. Prominent public figures, media organizations, and community leaders have contributed their perspectives, each subtly or overtly shaping public perception. Their commentaries, official statements, and in some instances their strategic silences carry significant consequences. These communications influence how the public interprets the event, where media attention is directed, and how pressure is applied to the authorities responsible for the investigation. For families seeking definitive answers, every public declaration, or the absence thereof, carries considerable weight. Each unresolved discrepancy becomes a source of profound frustration, amplifying the collective demand for complete transparency and accountability. Underlying ideological currents also perform a role in this dynamic. In an era where group allegiance and deeply held beliefs can powerfully shape public perception, the death of a figure like Charlie Kirk transcends individual loss. TT is transformed into a potent symbol, a symbol of vulnerability, of persistent unanswered questions, and of the weighty responsibilities borne by those in positions of authority and influence. These societal forces do not create the event itself, but they fundamentally shape its interpretation, guide communal responses, and determine how affected families navigate the subsequent consequences of intense public scrutiny and widespread discussion. Ultimately, this case illuminates a central tension within contemporary society: the fundamental human need for clarity, accountability, and verifiable truth existing within a world where information is abundantly available, yet often fragmentary or incomplete. For those pursuing understanding, for those striving to honor a life that was lost, and for the public endeavoring to comprehend the reality of the situation, acknowledging these complex social and political dimensions is equally as important as understanding the forensic specifics. Each distinct perspective, each public reaction, and each informed discussion contributes to the collective endeavor to ensure that this event is not met with unresolved ambiguity, and that every legitimate question receives the thorough and respectful consideration it warrants. As the investigative focus transitioned from the incident scene to the legal domain, the emphasis shifted towards formal judicial proceedings, the structured process through which evidence is systematically evaluated and accountability is determined. Tyler Robinson, the individual taken into custody, is confronting a series of formal charges related to the events of that day. The specific nature of these charges, as confirmed through official channels, reflects the serious nature of the incident and the diligent approach being undertaken by the investigating authorities. Court filings, preliminary hearings, and pretrial legal motions are being monitored closely by both legal professionals and the interested public. These documents, while frequently technical in their language, provide valuable insight into the investigation structure, the nature of the evidence under consideration, and the required procedural steps preceding a full trial. Sealed documents, confidential witness statements, and the official autopsy report constitute essential components of this meticulous legal process. While these items restrict the volume of information available for public dissemination, they are indispensable for guaranteeing a fair and comprehensive examination of all factual elements. Investigators persist in exploring the potential involvement of additional co-conspirators, explicitly stating that the scenario of a single individual acting in complete isolation is merely one possibility under active consideration. Every investigative lead, each piece of physical or digital evidence, is being carefully weighed, cross-referenced, and assessed for its relevance to both motive and operational opportunity. The courtroom, within this specific context, represents more than a mere venue for litigation. It functions as a controlled environment where legal statute, established procedure, and evidential verification converge to construct a coherent and defensible narrative, distinct from uninformed speculation or rumor. For the grieving families, the affected community, and the observing public, these proceedings serve as a reminder of the deliberate, methodical work essential for uncovering the truth. They also highlight the inherent limitations of publicly available information, the evident gap between accessible evidence and materials legally protected for investigative or judicial reasons. Each legal motion, every scheduled hearing, constitutes a progressive step toward ultimate clarity. Every subsequent public statement reaffirms the ongoing responsibility of the judicial system to ensure that the truth is revealed accurately, equitably, and with a profound sense of responsibility to all stakeholders involved. As we conclude this detailed analytical review, from the initial events of that day to the rigorous scrutiny of forensic evidence, witness accounts, and legal procedures, a fundamental realization emerges. The narrative surrounding Charlie Kirk is inherently complex and remains unresolved. Every persisting unanswered question imposes a significant burden upon his family, his community, and a public that is earnestly striving for a definitive understanding of the actual occurrences. Each identified inconsistency, each unresolved anomaly, stands as a reminder that the pursuit of truth is typically an incremental process, seldom straightforward, and often characterized by considerable complexity. The life of Charlie Kirk, his personal impact, and the influence he exerted on those around him cannot be adequately reduced to a sequence of headlines or statistical data. He was an individual, remembered with affection by those who knew him, mourned by those who relied upon him, and now subject to intense scrutiny by a global audience seeking definitive answers. It is within this challenging intersection of personal grief, rigorous inquiry, and public accountability that the paramount importance of factual clarity becomes most acutely evident. The case continues its development. Investigative efforts continue to probe every conceivable angle, and the legal process continues its essential work of safeguarding both due process and the unwavering pursuit of justice. For those of us observing these developments, for those of us persistently asking difficult questions, the accompanying responsibility is to maintain a vigilant and informed perspective, to diligently separate established fact from baseless speculation, and to consistently insist that the relevant authorities provide maximum transparency wherever legally and procedurally possible. Every minute detail holds potential significance, every informed perspective offers value, and every verifiable piece of evidence contributes to a more holistic and accurate understanding of the situation. As we conclude this segment of our analysis, it is vital to remember that the pursuit of truth is not a passive undertaking. It is an active process that demands sustained attention, critical scrutiny, and constructive engagement. Follow my channel to monitor the ongoing investigation, remain updated on verified developments, and honor the memory of all affected by maintaining a posture that is vigilant, thoughtful, and patient throughout. The story of Charlie Kirk rightfully demands nothing less than our complete attention, our careful consideration, and our resolute commitment to uncovering a comprehensive understanding of what took place